Yay.
Come on up here. As you can see, we have all these typewriters situated around the room and outside. And Simon, tell us a little bit about typewriter poetry.
Well, it's a wonderful way to connect with people because, first of all, louder, yes. First of all, people will come up because they're intrigued by this machine that they may have seen when they were a kid. And it's a starting point, and it's a connection. And I specialize in writing very personalized poems for people on the spot. And I use colorful paper to old paint chips to make that connection to begin with.
Wow.
And then I listen to what people have to tell me, and I get out of the way at that point because the poem is half written at that point. And I love being able to have people in this community interact with me in that way. And it's more than just a casual hello, but it's rather a meaningful exchange that we get to have.
Mm. How did your writing career start?
Well, that's a good question. I was a terrible writer all through grad school. And my first job, my boss saw something in me, and she beat it into my head. She really taught me how to write.
Mm-hmm.
And so I wrote for government for many years. And then I retired, so I decided to write on the other side of my brain and not just be doing technical stuff, but rather emotional.
Mm-hmm. So what are you doing now in terms of your writing, your own personal writing?
I'm writing poetry on the street
Yeah.
for people. I don't
That's
really stay up in my office very long and
Okay.
write my own poems, and I'm really about making this a transaction.
Yeah. So you brought an all-star team with you
Yeah.
tonight to do your poets. If you want to introduce them, and if you guys wouldn't mind coming up and you don't have to talk, you can just, well, that would be, yeah, if I asked poets not to talk, that'd be cruel and unusual
Yeah.
punishment, so.
Well, George Atchison, the current poet laureate, recently crowned just 7 days ago.
Yes.
I'm Fred. The new PL smell.
Step in. That's it? Yeah. All right. We have a former poet laureate, David Starkey. Would you like to say a word?
We're saving them all for the culmination.
All right. And then we have Diana Rabb.
Yay!
And Diana is not only a poet, but a memoir.
I will say something.
Oh, please do.
My first book was written on a Smith Corona, and I used the whiteout and the ribbon and all that. So I remember those keys that stuck together. And I just bought a new typewriter from you, a new old typewriter, a Hermes, and I'm really enjoying it. Thank you.
That's great.
Yeah,
You're welcome.
he sells them, by the way.
Diana, you write memoir, you write poetry, self-help. How many books have you published?
Oh, and the latest one.
Yeah. Which is
My
what we're-
co-editor's right here. 14.
14. Is this 15 then?
This is 15. Yes.
And what's the book's title?
It's called. I'll hold it up. Brain fog. Women in a Golden State. California Poets at 60 and Beyond. And we have 175 poets in here, and to represent the 175th birthday of California.
Oh,
So
wow.
each poet wrote one poem. So yeah, we got a lot of submissions, like over 200 or 250, right? More, maybe more, Chris, right? Yeah, a lot of fantastic submissions, and some of the people in the audience are in the collection. Laron and Christine, yeah.
And the cover is by a
Oh,
Santa
and
Barbara
right.
artist.
Yes, and she lives on your street,
Mary
right?
Hebner.
Yeah, Mary Hebner.
Oh, Mary
Wow.
Hebner,
Yeah.
nice.
Ah.
And where will you be in 2 months?
Oh, yes, of course. We will be right here on June 24th at 6:30, having a reading with probably 5 to 10 of the poets in the collection.
Great. Thank you.
In
Thank
the
you.
meantime, you
High
can buy
five
one in
folks.
advance.
All right. Thanks, you guys.
Gunpowder
Back
Press
to work.
we haven't mentioned.
Yes, it is by Gunpowder Press. Tonight's poet is an indie author for children, teens, and families. Sharon has been an educator with experience in arts and education, language arts, and social justice. Sharon has worked with students, teachers, and families to support gender diversity, LGBTQ+ inclusion in pre-K through 12 schools, and created a resource for families impacted by cancer called Wellbeing Studio. She's done it with free arts, media, and literature resources. And through this program, tonight's poet has donated over 6,000 books to families.
Wow.
To read from her wonderful poetry book, Ash and Feather, please welcome Sharon Frances.
Thank you all so much. This is very special for me. I just came off of the LA Festival of Books where I did a booth, and I was telling someone I was sandwiched between the LA Clippers with a spinny wheel and middle grade princess fantasy.
Oh,
And
dear.
so, who had written a series of like 9 books. So we had, and had been there for 5 years. So we had people beelining across us to get to the LA Clippers and the fantasy series. But what Jen and I were talking about is the important thing is the meaningful connections that you can make with people when you're writing a story of heart. And not that you might not find heart in the Clippers or in princess fantasy, that's possible too. But for me, because it really had to be drawn to our read, feel, create, heal label on our banner. People came in asking me, tell me about what that means for you. And I said, well, the story of this is it's a 7-year project in the making, and I started it after my breast cancer diagnosis. 3 days after my diagnosis, my father died of brain cancer, and it was his second cancer. So, the story goes, your first cancer, then the radiation can damage other things. So his first cancer was a non-Hodgkin's lymphoma. I was 7. The radiation was near his heart. It damaged his heart. The heart couldn't pump fluid. He needed a heart transplant. The immunosuppressants caused more disease, which caused the brain cancer. So the brain cancer was when I was 43. We didn't get along very well. We were left and right, me being the left. And we didn't get along very well. I really tried. I really wanted a dad. And it was very hard and very strained most of my life. And so when he passed, I was really mourning the finality of not ever having the potential for a relationship, right? It's like, that was it. It was done. But because of my diagnosis, I just had to move right on, because I was now 11-year-old daughter, and I had to deal with my own, which ended up being stage 3. I was, it's metastatic to the lymph system. I needed the full course of the most rigorous treatment. I'm still on a medication. It's been 7 years. So it was a lot, and I really didn't have time to process all that had happened with my dad, and there was so much about grief and dying and death that I just hadn't processed. And then when I was smacked with my own potential mortality, it really came to me. So, when you're hit with that at a young age, for me in the 70s and 80s, there wasn't a lot of resources. And so I immediately started writing for kids. I'm a teacher, that's what I do, right? Like, what am I going to do? I've got this thing, I better turn it into a gift and start writing for kids. And so I started with a children's book that would help my daughter. And I was writing these diary entries about this teen, because I was trying to understand, what would I have told my dad? What did I want? And so this character, Phoenix, came to me. And it's called Ash and Feather because when she finds out that her parent has brain cancer, she feels her shoulder blades start to itch, and she starts to grow wings. And she realizes that she's able to process what's happening to her because of this affinity she has for birds, this like whether it's imagination or real is for you to decide, identity as a hybrid bird human, and it's what helps her rise from the ashes of grief with her parent. And it also helps her realize that she has her own story to tell, and that it's through this process of coming to terms with all those questions that she sees more about herself as a teen. So that's the background for this. 7 years, and it's gone through so many iterations, as you know, as authors, of what happens. It's been the podcast during COVID. It's been a staged reading. It's been it's been like this original journal entries, and then I took a writing series with a book doula, as she called herself, and then it became the novel in verse that it is. And I had written a bunch of poetry for myself through breast cancer, and it was what helped me through read, feel, create, heal. I would write, and I would then read what I wrote, and I was able to process a lot of my changing body, the loss of the healthy body, the loss of the premenopausal body. Like, all of that went away with the blink of an eye, and I wasn't ready for that, and I didn't know. I was only 43. Like, I didn't know what was happening to me, but it was through that process that I came to the idea that this story could be told in the very form, the poetic form that I was turning to for myself. So that's all to say. I'm going to give you a smattering of the poems throughout the book, so you can get a sense of like the characters and the feel of what it is. Oh, and I also want to say that I find novels in verse fascinating, and I had been reading them for a very long time. My very first novel in verse was Karen Hess, Out of the Dust, and I absolutely loved it. I read Brown Girl Dreaming. There were so many books in verse. I started seeking them out, and it was way before any of this. But then when I realized that I had this story and I was a poet, I went back to those books and I was like, that makes so much sense. Yes, and I think that's what happens with us as when we're all creative, right? If we let ourselves just flow, you can come to these amazing realizations about yourself, about your art, about who you are and your creativity. So here we are. And the other thing is that I love being a visual artist, and I've always, tinkered with things, and I made little like characters out of Q-tips when I was little, and pulled the Q-tip cotton to make the hair, and I would draw little faces on it and little shoebox houses, and I did all kinds of things like that. And I collaged with paper and paint, and then at a Dia de los Muertos celebration, I discovered printmaking, because I was not trained as an artist, and I loved it. And so all of the illustrations, the book's illustrated, and all of the illustrations are my linocut prints. And I didn't intend to do it because I never saw myself as an artist. I just saw myself as a writer. Yeah. But then as I started creating the art, it just kept coming and coming, and I was like carving and inking like every day. That was just like it was flowing from me. And then my book designer kept saying, "Oh, can you do another one? I need another one. There's a hole here in the page." And I was like, "Sure, no problem. What do you got? What do you got?" And I just keep making. So it became this merge of the rawness of my poetry with the rawness of the printmaking form. Because, when you're carving, you have these like edges that don't, that they're not always clean, at least for me. And so like the noise of that extra ink on the page, and you can see, just like you can hear like the slide of strings on a guitar when they're playing, it's like you can see the noise of the ink that's left over, or like the little where you gouged it just a little bit much. So it's this merging of raw emotion and story. Ash and Feather. Prologue. At this moment, flying free over the fields, a story echoes in my bones, a story I must tell. The words fall from my pockets like they have wings. They form sentences on cotton ball clouds. I fly over homes, tall trees, the hospital, and Back Bay, dropping pages as I go. It is at this moment the story in my bones flies free too. The legend. This bird used to float in the bath, sip cool lemonade in the sun. Pain was scraped knees, fear was a bee sting. Anger was a broken pencil tip and nowhere to sharpen it. Then suddenly, in a few moments' time, the bird spiraled. Down, down, down. She saw sickness spread around her. Flames of fear lapped at her scaly legs. New hard feelings. A new kind of pain. Then, at that moment of falling, when she needed it most, this bird heard a voice from deep in the embers. You have to burn first before you can rise from the ashes. So she did the hard thing. She let herself feel everything. She let herself burn. Part 1, the old normal. I'm Phoenix. Human or bird? I want to be both. Having wings helps me live in a world complicated and gray, full of fear and conflict and talking when I don't know what to say. I fly when it gets complicated. Wind in my feathers is a magical feeling. I wonder what it would be like if eagle and duck knew they could fly for real. That when their shoulder blades itch, it's a reminder to dream. I'm from bird baths and kiddie pools, from holding on to the way things were, made of wooded trails and back bay waters, wrapped in soft hoodie sweatshirts and swimming in oversized cargo pants. I hold on to everything until I find out more about who I am. Family is the three of us, a magic number. Eagle, my one and only parent. Duck, my one and only grandparent. It just happened like that. We're a triangle, the strongest shape held together against any storm. When I was a baby, Duck moved in to help. Hold me, rock me, change me, feed me, make 3-bean soup, and bring it to Eagle's work for everyone. Duck with old wisdom from the start, skin more wrinkly now, feathery hair more silver now, but loving us just as strong. Duck is the right angle on the x-axis, and Eagle is the y. I, the hypotenuse, running diagonals all over the place. Duck and Eagle get along well, and I'm sure happy about that, because it's hard enough having only one parent and hearing all the stories about two. Family is the sum of us, a 6-arm hug. My eagle holds us close, my duck keeps us warm. I nestle in the nooks and crannies. We whisper into the hug center. You're my favorite and my best. Learning again and again who we are together. Home is a warm cup of cocoa, roller skates on the front walk, watching a show together on the couch. When I was little, home was the grassy area where Eagle's sharp-looking eye spotted a bee in the clover and lifted me over. Home was Duck's downy, soft blanket wrapped around me when I was sick. They're both protective and loving, but I describe them as Eagle Eye and Duck Down, because I like to play with words and find combinations to create a magnificent thing. Writing poems gives me goosebumps. You know that moment when words work together? That feels like home, too. So that's the summer before 8th grade. 8th grade starts next week. Part 2 is diagnosis. Shafts of morning sun cast on my sleepy face. What time is it? Oh, that's right, it doesn't matter because it's still summer. A sweet kiss of light feels so bright. Duck's voice drifts through the window. I love feeling the fresh morning air. The breeze makes me feel at ease. Thanks for walking with me, dear. Eagle responds distractedly, Then, that's strange. My foot is dragging and it feels heavy. I can't lift it in my hand. I can't move it. I lean toward the window, crouched low so they can't see me. Eagle's rubbing right leg with left hand. Duck leans in. Oh, honey, how different is that from usual? Like, on a scale of 1 to 10, 10 being the most unusual, 1 being totally normal. My stomach lurches. I hug Bun Bun and Coyote tight. Come on, Eagle, say a 1 or 2. I hear crest feathers scratching. Eagle mumbles, it's okay. I'm fine. Don't worry about it. I lean further toward the window. Eagle adds, maybe an 8? A what? I call out. With a trembling quack, Duck insists, we need to get you to the hospital. An 8. An 8's bad. I stumble backward, tripping over shoes, books, wrappers, my water bottle. It's a fall that lasts forever, yet takes no time at all. A fall that leaves me feeling burnt, not kissed, by the summer sun. What's wrong with my eagle? What happens in a hospital? I've never been to an emergency room or broken a bone or been unable to breathe or had a disease. Does a hospital open its doors like a hug? We sit around the kitchen table. Eagle's getting checked today, Duck explains. There will be a number of tests and the doctor will call with results in the next day or two. I don't understand. Eagle was fine yesterday. Salty water pools in my eyes. I tense up, clench my fists, and stomp outside to stand in the kiddie pool, surrounded by a blanket of pine needles floating in the water, a blanket that won't keep me warm. I scoop up an evergreen pile, throw them as I stomp. A scented, sticky needle pricks me. A spot of blood pools on my finger. Will the tests make Eagle bleed? Hospital doors slam shut in my head. The phone rings. I run over to listen near the sliding door. A flurry of voices float through the air. I can't make out anything, but Duck is pacing and Eagle is drooping? Time has compacted itself, like an overflowing suitcase only zipped shut with the weight of your whole body sitting on it. I'm swallowed up inside. This is not how home is supposed to feel. First day of 8th grade. The school halls bustle with familiarity, loud voices, bulging backpacks, the garish colors of clothing and gossip. I wear my hoodie like it's a life vest and finger a thread loose on the hem. My first class is digital design. We get to use electronic tablets and create pictures with all the tools. I take a seat next to a girl with a short bob and an iridescent shirt shining in blues and greens. I look at her in all her glory. Who is she? The girl taps the color wheel. Hey there, I'm Ing, she says, waving her tablet pen. Do you like blackish red or reddish black? Want a mint? I answer, I like both. And sure? Both? Me too. She passes me a peppermint swirl candy. It clacks against my teeth and rolls around in my tongue. Who is she? The teacher starts to talk about class requirements. I pay attention better if I doodle, so I let my stylus wander the tablet with lines and colors. Who is she? Blackish red, reddish black, greenish blue, bluish green, a hoodie, a mint, healing overdue. They're all true. The bell rings, startling me back to my desk. Everyone's packing up. When iridescent new girl swings her backpack on, a tiny feather floats out. Could it be from a hummingbird? She catches it and drops it on my desk. I look up and smile shyly from under my hood. The colors glint through the feather's softness. I tuck it behind my ear for later. How am I doing on time?
You're
Can I
doing
read a
all
couple
right.
more?
Yeah, a little bit more.
You're going to meet Hen. Hen helped her in the hospital, but Hen also works at the school. I nibble my hoodie's cord as I walk onto school grounds. Early morning is my wandering time before it all begins again. Dew sparkles like gems on the plant leaves, shoe bottoms imprint into the soggy dirt, and bird-shaped clouds distract me from the heavy backpack I have to carry. Near my first period classroom, I notice someone sitting under a tree holding a glass jar filled halfway with water. Ooh, that's Hen from the hospital. Does she work here too? Hen drops marbles from a pile, one by one, into the jar. Watching each one sink, then she drops another one. Drop, look, drop, look. I sit down next to her and watch too. Drop, look, drop, look. She watches the marbles push the water higher in the jar, celebrating displacement. Sometimes, always, never. Hen looks up. Hi, Phoenix. I remember you from the hospital. I pull my hoodie over my head, yank the cords tight. I'm nervous, but I nod. I still remember her hospital hall hug warm on my shoulders. Hen asks, want to play a game? It's called Sometimes, Always, Never. I hesitate. Class starts in 10 minutes. Hen clucks. Just enough time. It goes like this. I say a sentence and you respond with what's true for you. Is it sometimes, always, or never? Hen picks up a pile of marbles and passes some to me. She starts, nobody cares about me anymore. Never, I say. Then we drop marbles into the jar. I should hide my feelings so I don't bother anyone. Sometimes, I muse. Another 2 marbles. It's okay if I don't want to talk about my feelings. Oh, I know this one right away. I nod my head, always. 2 more marbles. It's wrong to be angry. I pull up my hoodie. Sometimes, drop, drop. Worry affects how I sleep. I shrug, well, that doesn't seem like a big deal. Sometimes, drop. I feel like I can't do anything right. I scoff. Definitely sometimes. Drop, drop, drop. I think something I did caused the cancer. I grow tired and whisper, sometimes. Drop, drop. I'm afraid that another someone I love will get cancer. My voice is softer still. Sometimes. Drop. It's okay to cry. I hesitate, but I'm certain. Always. I pour in all my marbles, but one. The bell is about to ring. It will get easier, Hen says. I put on my backpack and get up. While walking away, I look over my shoulder, still gripping the last marble. Maybe. Trust. November greets me with one last sunny day. I lay a towel on the grass, wings and limbs splayed out, clawed fingers and toes wiggle to get the sun rays between them. Duck waddles over with a basket of blackberries fresh from vines on the fence. I grab a handful and roll them in my fingers before savoring their taste. They stain my fingers like delicious memories. Duck looks at me and says, I can't stop thinking about last month when we got back from the hike. Eagle had gotten sick, and they went hiking anyway, and it made Phoenix really mad. The disappointment on your face, the anger and fear in your voice, because we weren't there. I'm sorry I let you down. I'm sorry this is happening. I'm sorry that sorry doesn't make things better. I lick my berry fingers. Me too. Then we hug, and somehow her touch makes things better this time. Look, I wave my wings through the air. The sunlight filters onto us. We gleam. Duck nods. Want to play a game? This is a trust fall. Stand with your back to me, hold your arms out to the side, then count to 3 out loud and fall. I'll catch you. I promise. Turning my back to Duck, I whisper, I want to believe you, but I hate promises. Duck gives me a quick rub. I've got you. Hold your arms out. Go when you're ready. I count down. 3, 2, 1. Ashes, ashes. We all fall down. Except I don't. Duck catches me, holds me, looks upside down at me like she understands how hard all of this is. This is what trust feels like. Leaving the nest. Eagle flops on my bed, fingering the headdress. Eagle has a tumor treatment field that band that they wear in order to prevent the cancer from continuing to grow. It's something that can happen if your cancer is located enough in one area. My father's was octopus tentacles, so it was untreatable, but this type is concentrated, so you can wear a headdress to prevent it from growing as fast. Leaving the nest. Eagle flops on my bed, fingering the headdress. I've been wearing it a while. Seems to be working, doesn't it? I shift uncomfortably under the question mark. Its curved line and little dot poke at me. A feather falls from Eagle's wing. I catch it in my nest. She's been building a strong nest. It's like a therapeutic kind of tool that her friend gave her the idea of. It's this little container, and she puts things into it. I catch the feather in my nest. Take this. I made it. It holds all the beautiful things, the worries, the laughs, the memories, the new normal. Eagle rumbles softly. It's just right, Phoenix. I lean into the body of one of my favorite birds. It's a strong nest, I say. Eagle opens up, emboldened. I know things have been hard. Thank you for being you and for working things out. I rustle and itch and then settle back in. What else could I do? Eagle looks directly into my fiery eyes. That's the thing, isn't it? So much we don't have control over. I nod. So much. The clock's tick-tock fills the room. I wonder, if I can't be big and live forever, can I stay small and always baby bird? Eagle smiles. I long for the before too. I shake my head. That's not it. I don't want to go back, but I don't know how to live now, right now, without being haunted. Touch. Eagle's eyes close. I look at the headdress. The white gauzy strips temptingly soft, like downy feathers. I look at Eagle's scar. Its tissue tough, the skin tight. Could I touch it? Just this once? Maybe with one finger? Eagle senses my movement. I gasp and pull away. It's okay, Phoenix. You can feel it. But Eagle, I'm afraid. What if I hurt you? What if I don't like how it feels? Eagle sits up. It's okay. Take it slow. Here. Just a fingertip. Move it in circles. It helps my tissue soften. It helps the skin breathe. It's okay. I get scared too. Sometimes when I touch my scar, my tummy hurts. I can barely breathe. Will I feel the cancer? Eagle grins. No, the little that's left, it's deep inside. You won't touch it. I promise. Beads of sweat fall down my face. Will I hurt you? No, Phoenix. With each touch, it gets easier. Ever so carefully, I reach out, lightly brush the scar, tenderly finger the headdress and caress Eagle's skull. My wings stretch wider, the more I give in to this moment. Turning bits of fear into strength, like salvaged kindling, we craft a new life and fan the flames. I have to tell you, that last one, I've never read that one out loud, and I did a double mastectomy, and I chose to have aesthetic block closure, so I did not choose to have implants, and I went to do PT so they can help with the skin is very tight, especially with the radiation side. This side's like, why did you do that? I was fine, but so it doesn't have any tightness. But this side was like, oh yeah, you did that to me, didn't you? And so when we were in the room, she said, have you ever touched your scars? And I said, no. And she said, you need to touch your scars. And I was like, I'm so scared, I'm so scared. I don't know how it's gonna feel. I don't know if everything's gonna come back, if my memories, if everything's gonna come back. And she's like, I promise every time you touch it will get easier. Nobody ever said that to me before, And I was so thankful, and I thought, what if a parent said that to their kid? I saw my dad's scars, and I was so scared, and I was disgusted, and then I was ashamed that I was disgusted, and then I was embarrassed that I was ashamed that I was, it was so complicated, and no one told me anything. And I thought, what if I wrote this? What if I wrote that moment for some parent to say to some kid, so when that kid is reading this, that they know that it's okay to ask, and it's okay to touch, and it's nothing to be ashamed of, and it's just part of being human. Wouldn't that be amazing? So thank you for letting me share that with you.